I don't like anyone else's kids.
Yeah. Is that true?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You think having kids makes you like all kids, but it doesn't. You just like your kids.
Yeah. But do you like actually resent them like that kid?
Yeah.
Oh, good for you. That's good for you.
Especially if you're by yourself, because you're like, I don't have my kids now. This is the time where I'm supposed to pretend like I'm 24 and
yeah. And you go play.
Yeah.
And then
traveling the world by myself.
Well, if you didn't recognize the voice, that was Amy Poehler talking about parenting, and you can read more from Amy and 152 other people who have been on this show in Waiting for the Punch, Words to Live By from the WTF podcast. To pre-order your copy, go to WTFpod.com and click on the word book at the top of the homepage, or click on the cover of the book anywhere on the site. You can also go to markmaronbook.com. And if you send in your pre-order receipt, I'll sign a little sticker and send it to you so you can put it inside the book. I'm really proud of this book, folks, so I really hope you'll get it and enjoy it. All right, let's do the podcast now.
Lock the gate!
All right, let's do this. How are you, what the fuckers, what the fuck buddies, what the fucking ears, what the fuck nicks, what the fuckocrats, what the fuck publicans? How's it going? I'm Marc Maron. This is my podcast. Welcome to it. It's called WTF. Thank you for enjoying. Thank you for joining. Thank you for being here. I'm getting a lot of emails from people who are watching me on Glow and apparently never knew I existed, which is fine. Not complaining. It's nice to be discoverable. It's nice to know that most people have no idea who I am. And I'm being honest. I'm very okay with that. But it is kind of interesting to get emails from people who see me, wonder about me, search my name, and then they have like 800, 900, whatever, however many podcasts we've done. They've got my show. They've got my 5 or 6 comedy records. They're going to have the books, the 2 books. I'm happy that they have a rabbit hole. I hope it doesn't exhaust them of me. Because God knows I'm exhausted by the Maron rabbit hole because I'm living in it. It's in my head. It's always open. It's a very easy door. There's no lock on it. It's kind of blowing open. It's kind of creaky and blowing open. I'm like, what's going on in there? Not again. Not again. But today on the show, I have the Lucas brothers, which was pretty great. It was a really good time. Keith and Kenny Lucas are identical twin brothers that dress pretty much the same. And it's very trippy to talk to them both at the same time for over an hour. I mean trippy in the real sense of trippy. Like, what the fuck? Oh my God, there's 2 of you. But I didn't know what to expect. They've got a new special on, I believe it's on Netflix. Yeah, it's called On Drugs, the Lucas brothers, On Drugs. And that's, that's a double entendre. Is that the right word? On, as in terms of paper on something, and then also on drugs, like I'm high. But either way, I didn't know what to expect, and I had a really good time with these guys, so that's going to be happening in a little while. Also, speaking about drugs, I am a little squirrely, I'm squirrely, and this happens every year around this time. When you listen to this, if you listen on Monday, it'll be August 7th, and on Wednesday, August 9th, I'll acknowledge the day. I'll acknowledge the monumental achievement on Wednesday of 18 years sobriety for me. 18 years sober on Wednesday. So I don't know, anything could happen between now when I'm talking to you and Wednesday. I'll let you know Thursday. Hopefully Thursday will be just another show and not just maybe no show at all. Like, where's Mark? I don't know, man. He couldn't hack it. He's coming up on that 18th sober anniversary, and he's out in Palm Desert somewhere. He's out in Desert Hot Springs with some dude in a trailer. I don't know what the fuck they're doing, but it's not good. Yeah, I'll bring the mics with me on that one, on the meth relapse. I'll make sure to have the mics with me, and I'll interview whoever I'm doing it with. Not going to happen, people. Relax. Making a dark joke. But I do notice a difference, and I don't know, some of you who have some sobriety out there know that coming up on those markers, I get like, I'm irritable. I should be going to meetings, but even then, like, I'm sort of like, fuck the meetings. I don't want to deal with it. I just don't want to, I'm impatient. I'm edgy. I'm having dreams. You just get squirrely, man. And you don't realize it. I don't want to believe it's true, but your brain fucking knows. 3 days ago, I had a dream. I mean, I'm a long time sober already. You know, granted, you know, I do my nicotine lozenges and I get jacked up on coffee, especially now that I have a little downtime. Like, I'm on my second pot of coffee here and I'm recording this before noon. So, like, you know, it's not like I'm not, you know, activating the neurotransmitters, but, you know, these aren't things that are making my life unmanageable, and they, you know, they're acceptable. But the booze and drug thing, man. So I have a dream. I'm in the dream, and it's real as hell, man. Real as hell. Just 3 days ago, coming up on my 18th sober anniversary, and I got a dream. It's just, I'm just sitting at a bar, and I just ordered my second Jack and Coke. It was a familiar looking bar. It looked like a bar that, like, in my dream, it felt like I lived there. I'm getting my second Jack and Coke, and I'm smoking cigarettes. And I'm with Dean Delray for some reason. I'm not blaming him for anything. It's not, I'm sure he didn't, cajole me into drinking. He's a pretty sober dude himself, very healthy guy. But for some reason, it was me and Dean, and I'm just sitting there, and the thing I remember from the dream is that feeling in my lungs from smoking cigarettes. You know, when you smoke cigarettes and you've been smoking a long time, there's always a little bit of a kind of a wet ache in your lungs. And I remember in the dream that I had that wet ache in my lungs from smoking cigarettes, and I was about to get that second Jack and Coke. And in the dream, I'm thinking, I'm like, man, I'm not sober anymore. This is like, I'm drinking right now. And, Am I gonna tell anybody? How am I gonna handle this? That's really all I remember. The wet ache and wondering whether or not I would cop to drinking. And also that first sip of Jack and Coke. Whoo, man. Oh boy, I should go to a meeting. Oh, fuck. Yeah, better go to a fucking meeting. Ooh. It's got little shivery shivs. That wet ache, that first sip, a little shivery. How am I going to celebrate? What do you do? Well, look, folks, there's no other way to say it. Going to the post office can be such a drag. I mean, it's not just a post office. It's any place where you have to go out of your way, where you have to wait on long lines, where you have to carve out a chunk of your day to do something that should only take a few minutes. Thankfully, you can avoid the hassle of the post office and instead mail everything with Stamps.com. From postcards to envelopes to packages, domestic or international, Stamps.com lets you buy and print official U.S. postage for any letter, any package, any class of mail using your own computer and printer. And unlike the post office, people, Stamps.com never closes. You can get postage whenever you want. Plus, they'll send you a digital scale that automatically calculates exact postage and helps you decide the best class of mail based on your needs. Even get discounts you can't get at the post office. Yeah. Do you have to mail a lot of stuff for work? Well, I do. My producer lives 3,000 miles away, and there's always stuff to send him. Stamps.com makes it easy to take care of all that kind of stuff, the mailing and whatnot. You can see for yourself with a special offer that includes a 4-week trial plus postage and a digital scale without long-term commitments. Just go to Stamps.com, click on the microphone at the top of the homepage, and type in WTF. That's Stamps.com. Enter WTF. So what do I do? What do you do for a sober anniversary? Well, here in the Los Angeles area, they call them birthdays, and you go to a meeting and get a cake, and you blow out a bunch of candles and share your gratitude and talk about your story a little bit and get a couple of your old pals to give you your cake, and that's that. You get a coin, right on time. Sarah the painter got me a 17-year coin. Maybe she'll get me an 18-year coin because I just recently lost a 17-year coin. Right on time. Right on time. Because they just build up the coins. And it's funny when you're going in and out, you know, when you're not quite getting the sober thing, you just start amassing coins. They're not a great indication, you know. You just got a lot of these attempt coins, but you know, keep going, keep trying. But what I usually do inappropriately on my sober birthday is I will email my ex-wife who got me sober. I don't speak to her. She doesn't like me. She doesn't want to hear from me at all. But yet I insist on sending an email to an address that I'm sure is I'm the only. She gets one email a year from that address, and it's me going, "Thank you for getting me sober." I do that, despite the fact that probably ruins her fucking day. But I feel it's necessary. I will give credit where credit is due, and it wouldn't have happened without her, despite what happened after that. You know what I'm saying? Things, life. So that's what's going on with me. Oh, I had this other dream. Oh, shit. I just remembered the other dream. I think it was this house. This is not an alcohol-related dream, but it fucked me up. I think it was my house. It was this house, and there was a party going on. And I don't know. There's a lot of people there. Everyone was in costume. But I was not in a costume. But I was not dressed how I usually dress. I was dressed like I used to dress maybe 10 years ago. And maybe I was dressed as me 10 years ago. But it was clearly a costume party. I felt very out of place. It was my house, and I wasn't in costume. And I went out the back door here by the garage, and I walked down the hill here, and I'm looking down on the hill. There's a pond that doesn't exist in real life, but it exists in the dream. So there's this kind of muddy pond, and I'm just up on the edge, and I'm looking at the pond, and out of the ground, just above the pond, this giant snake comes out, and I'm just watching it come out of the dirt, like a giant, like anaconda size, like one of those massive, like goat-eating snakes, just comes out and just slithers into the water. And I remember in the dream, I made a mental note, don't go into pond, snake. And then I walked around to this other, and there seemed to be a clearer water there, and I saw a seal. And what was the other animal? Because I knew that not only was a seal not supposed to be here in the hills of Highland Park in Los Angeles in some freshwater adjunct to a snake-infested pond, but there was another animal with it that didn't make sense. It might not have even been a water animal. I remember seeing the other animal being like, that's weird in the water, and like, oh, there's a seal. And that was all of that one. If you have any ideas, I'm open. I do like the idea of being at a costume party and being the only one not in costume, because that's happened in reality, but why is it happening in my head? Today's show is brought to you by Away. Away offers high-quality luggage designed to be resilient, resourceful, and essential to the way you travel. I'll tell you, these are really beautiful suitcases, people, available in 9 colors and 4 sizes. I got a maroon one. The sizes include carry-on sizes that are compliant with all major U.S. airlines. The Away suitcase is lightweight and unrivaled in strength and impact and resistance. Not to mention, it features a TSA-approved combination lock, 4 360-degree spinner wheels, and a patent-pending compression system to help all of you overpackers. Better yet, both sizes of the carry-on are able to charge anything that's powered by a USB cord. A single charge will power your iPhone 5 times. And thanks to Away's lifetime warranty, if anything breaks, they'll fix it or replace it for you for life. You know me. You know I travel a lot, and I'm very particular about my luggage. This is true. But these Away suitcases do the trick. I can travel with everything I need and not feel like I'm lugging around a piano. Try out Away for 100 days, vibe with it, travel with it, Instagram it, and if at any point you decide it's not for you, return it for a full refund. Shipping is free within the lower 48 states, so you've got nothing to lose, folks. For $20 off a suitcase, visit awaytravel.com/WTF, all lowercase, and use promo code WTF during checkout. That's awaytravel.com/WTF, promo code WTF for $20 off your Away suitcase. All right, so what have I been doing with my downtime? Well, yesterday was a big day. I went to a box of wires and cords. You know the one I'm talking about. Box of wires and cords. I don't know. They just build up, and I'm in this process of making life lighter. So I was like, I got nothing to do. The fucking world stinks. Things are out of control. I'm terrified all the time. How do I make this manageable? Well, there's that box of wires and cords that could use some organizing. Once you wrangle that fucker into place. So you go, these wires, you don't know what they're for. Everything comes with more wires than you need. You buy electronic things. It's like they come with the wire you need and then a wire that you're like, what does this one even do? Who knows how to use this one? Should I read something? Does it do more than I think? Or is it for some other piece of equipment that I don't have? What does this wire do? Fuck it. Put it in the box. So eventually you have a box of these useless wires or wires you don't need, and then you got to go through it and make some decisions. I don't know what to do with it. It's sitting out on the deck now. I don't need any of them. I haven't looked at those wires in years, and now I've gone through them, and now I'm ready to throw them away. But they still got the twisties on them, and some of them are in plastic. They're good. They're new wires. What do you do? What am I going to take them to Goodwill? It's not. You can't do that. I could go put them on the street and just maybe write on the box, wires, and see, maybe that'll work. Or I could throw them away. Throw them in the fucking garbage. If I haven't used them in years, I'm probably not going to use them. All right, look, let's talk to the Lucas Brothers. As I said, their new special on Netflix is called Lucas Brothers on Drugs, and I had a great deal of fun talking to these guys. It's funny, not unlike my first experience in seeing you two. Like, I drove up, I didn't think you'd be here, and then you both come out.
Yeah.
And I think the first time I met you guys, where the hell was that? Like in Portland or Chicago?
It was Austin, Texas.
Yeah. At a festival?
At a festival. Moon Tower.
Right, and I thought I was tripping. Like I couldn't quite manage the twin.
You did seem shocked. Not shocked, but it was like perplexed.
I was overwhelmed. There were two of you. Very well-defined humans, both fashion-wise and appearance-wise, and I'm like, I'm going to have to take this in small doses.
That's fair. It could be overwhelming, man.
But is that something you deal with your whole life as a twins?
At birth, yes. I guess you're like kind of like weird and special at the same time,
right?
And you just sort of live with it. It becomes so.
It becomes a part of your existence.
Yeah.
It's like you're referred to as a twin.
Yeah. Right.
You know, you don't even have an identity as an individual. So you sort of just, even our mom called us Kenny and Keith. She didn't say
Kenny or Keith.
Oh, it's always a dual thing.
It's always a dual thing.
You always came in a pair?
Always.
Never, no, mom didn't pull either of you aside and say like, you're the good one.
She did a good job in like treating us as equals.
Yeah. I was 2 minutes older, so I would get I'm the older twin, but I'm like, come on.
But that's like the joke, right? Yeah. Do you have other siblings?
Yeah, we have two younger brothers.
Are they, it's so funny, I was about to say normal.
Yeah, they are.
They are normal.
They're younger?
Yeah.
So, but I guess these twin questions don't have anything to do with anything other than curiosity.
Sure.
Well, I mean, how often do you meet them? You know,
That's
like
fair.
out in the world. Are you guys part of a club?
The Twin Club?
Yeah. Do you have that?
Deuces, man.
Well, there is a festival that's dedicated. Deuces is much better than Twin Club. There's a festival that's dedicated to twins, so I guess on some small level
We are, yeah. Twinsburg. Yeah.
Twinsburg.
But I mean, that's sort of odd that you have this specific birthright.
Yeah.
And that it's unique, and it is it's not incredibly common, right? But you would think that what's your opportunity to meet other identical twins? And like, I'd love to see a support group of these identical twins dealing with the way they're misunderstood by people.
We just met a pair of twins. Kaplan twins, they're girls, and they're our first twins ever met in Hollywood, and they're like best friends now. Like, we love you guys. Thank you guys for understanding our plight.
Yeah.
But it's not really a plight. It's just
an existence that's fairly unique. And
right.
Black male twins are the rarest.
Black male twins. So you're like,
we should be put in the Bible. We are like a miracle. We should be placed in the New Testament.
But I like that you've done that research.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to stay abreast.
How rare? What are we talking? 1 in a million? More than that.
More than that. I'm saying 1 and maybe like 10 million.
Wow.
Yeah. I think it's 1 to 10 million. Something like
I don't know what a twins group would really talk about, just like a bunch of people at the end of the ropes going like, we just like to dress.
Do we have to split up?
Yeah.
Why do we have to split up?
Why is it okay for gangs to dress alike and not twins?
All right, but honestly, why do you dress alike?
Look, it's part just like because no one else can do it.
Yeah.
It's almost just like, why not?
Yeah.
Like, why not be eccentric?
Yeah.
In a way that
More eccentric than just being identical twins.
Yeah. And fuck, like he wears a lot of things that I like to wear.
Yeah.
So I was like, fuck, I'm not going to change up my wardrobe.
It's a lot easier too. Like, I could just grab his
easier.
clothes. Like I don't have to think about my own shit. Like if I was like a stylish guy who wore blazers, I mean that's a lot of work.
Yeah, it's like you don't have to
Have you had those conversations where you're like, are you wearing that? You're going to fuck this whole thing up because there's no way I can wear that.
Well, he tried to change up his wardrobe. He was like, no, I'm going to start wearing like toboggan hats. And I was like, oh, come on, man. Like, I can't. I don't want to wear that. Not in this
winter time, man.
So you have to have those negotiations. We find a middle way on the headgear.
And when things get really tense, you got to threaten something. So I'll threaten to shave off my beard. Like if I'm like, no, you got to pay extra rent. I'm gonna
take it off. You're gonna be all alone.
I'm taking it off.
But like, where'd you guys come from?
We were born in Newark, New Jersey.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
Jersey,
where my roots are from, Elizabeth.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, Elizabeth.
Well, I mean, I wasn't born there, but my grandfather was born there. I was born in Jersey City.
Oh, wow.
Shit, yeah, Jersey City's right there.
Yeah, it's all right there. All those shitty places. They're just right together. Jersey City, Newark, and Elizabeth. But how long did you spend there? You got family there?
We still have family there. We spent a long time in Newark. I mean, from 1 until 18.
Yeah.
We moved around a bunch, and we lived in North Carolina for a bit. But
what part of North Carolina?
High Point.
I don't know where that is.
It's in between like Charlotte and Winston-Salem.
Near Greensboro.
Yeah.
But you're Jersey guys, really?
Yeah. Jersey dudes.
And so what's your mom and pop still together?
They never married.
Oh,
no. They were together for like 8 seconds, had us, and then that was their relationship. So it was a miracle.
But what about the other siblings?
They're half brothers.
Yeah. Oh, got it.
Yeah.
So your dad's gone.
Yeah. I mean, he went to prison when we were 6. He's still around, but we don't really have much of a relationship.
No.
But oh, really?
No.
But your mom did, or how'd you know about him at all?
They took us to go see him in prison when we were like 5. I was like, I don't want to go, man. I'd rather just like it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I want to just chill home and watch cartoons. But yeah, I guess I'll go to prison on Saturday morning.
What was his reaction when the two of you turned up looking the same?
I think he was too concerned about prison. I don't even think he was thinking about. I don't think he was too.
You didn't have a moment where he's like, "Holy shit! What are the odds? What are the odds that I had 2 of them?
8 seconds. It's crazy."
So no relationship there, huh?
I mean, we tried, but it's hard. I mean, like,
there's literally something standing in between us and him, which is prison.
Yeah. He's still there?
He's not there now. He got out in 03, 04. But by that point. We were.
And what about your mom? The new guys? Did he act like your dad?
He was a stepfather in every sense of the word.
The good senses?
Bad, horrible. He was like terrible.
Yeah, he wasn't the greatest dude. They got divorced.
Yeah.
They
got divorced when we were like 15.
Was he shitty to both of you equally?
Oh yeah. That's the thing. He treated us equally.
I'll give him that.
He was an equal opportunity.
So if one of you fucked up, it's like, I don't care.
Yeah.
You're both paying for it.
Yeah, he did do that. He fucked us both over when I screwed up. So
Really?
I apologize.
It's
kid.
okay, man.
Look at that. Burying hatchets. What was that about? Some bullshit?
I was a bit of a wild child. I think I starved for attention. So like I would do things like, I don't know, I stuck my middle finger up to my teacher once.
Oh yeah.
She told me,
your first act of comedy.
My first act of comedy. I was like, go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
And everybody ratted me out. But my stepfather didn't like that.
And then did you guys have to have a conference? It's like, look, if you're going to do bad shit, I'm going to take the hit for it.
Yeah.
So we've got to talk about it before it happens.
And
wonder to decide whether or not it's worth the risk.
You should have given me more pep.
I should have, man. I just trusted your judgment, but I guess I shouldn't have.
So did you guys go into the city a lot?
Yeah, our uncle, our godfather, he would take us to the city all the time because he would do business there.
Yeah.
And we would just drive there, and I remember going over just like driving into it out of the Holland Tunnel, and I would see like the buildings.
Yeah.
And I was 7 years old, and I was just like, holy shit, I'm amazed by this.
Wasn't that fucking exciting?
It was the most exciting thing.
And you get enamored. You're like, what is this?
Yeah.
And you're just overwhelmed by the
Because Newark is a ghetto. Like, it's like, it's terrifying, it's scary, it's like, but when you drive into New York, it's something totally different.
Everything levels out.
Yeah.
You know, like, how could this be a ghetto? Look at it.
Yeah.
How do people even fit into this place? I remember doing that drive because I was a kid too, and you know, I was in New Jersey from like 1 to like 6 years old. But my grandparents, the whole family was always there. So we moved to New Mexico, and I'd go back every year. But when you're a kid and like whoever drives you in, whether it's the bridge or usually it was the tunnel, right? So Lincoln Tunnel, I went.
Yeah, Lincoln, we did Holland.
So like you go through the Lincoln Tunnel, you come out, and it's just sort of like it's overwhelming and amazing.
Overwhelming.
Every part of it, like you're just looking out the window, you're like, where does it end?
Yeah.
Buildings.
Yeah, it's just like you see so many people. It's fast paced.
Yeah.
I mean the billboards.
Yeah.
It's just the mystique of New York.
Yeah.
You instantly gravitate toward it.
So when did you guys start like being funny? From day one, were you like?
Well, it's crazy. You know, like for a lot of comedians, humor comes from the sort of being alone and being able to observe the world. Yeah. So like we started observing the world, and I mean, early. Like we started
because we were really quiet kids, so we would like.
Were you just like everyone was sort of baffled? Like,
yeah,
they're twins, but are they okay?
They thought we probably had mental. Like,
yeah, we never talked. We barely talked in school, but when we were together,
we would create these fictional worlds, and like it was crazy.
Like no one doesn't remember you guys. Like I imagine that. Like, you know, like no matter whether you talked or not, like I imagine at every level of your, you know, history, there are people in your classes going like, oh yeah, I remember those guys.
And that's what you would say. Oh, those guys never talked. I didn't think they would be comedians. And we didn't think we
wouldn't have guessed it.
No. And we didn't think we would be comedians.
So. But what was it like? How? So like because you guys have this thing. You didn't need to talk really because you always had each other. Was that the way it worked?
Exactly
precisely.
Like you had your own world.
Exactly. I didn't need to make friends.
Right. And you protected each other. You looked the same. You probably could get away with things that other people couldn't.
Totally.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's got to be. All right. Tell me the one. You know. Girl story.
It's not the girl. We did trick the government.
We tricked the government. We went bigger.
Oh yeah.
We don't like to limit our trickery.
Yeah. We want to do things that go against the system. So he took my driver's test for me.
Yeah.
Oh really?
Yeah.
I did not take my road test.
I had no confidence that he could pass it, and I was tired of hearing him complain about it. So I said I'll do it, and I did it.
Were you nervous?
No.
No,
the first time I was super nervous, but then I failed my first time. Then I passed my second time with flying colors, and I was like, I'll just take his. And then
I kept failing, and I was like, all right, let's get this out of the way.
But do you let him drive now?
He can drive now.
Yeah, he lets me drive now. The first time I drove, though, I got into a car accident, which makes a lot of sense since I didn't know how to fucking drive.
Yeah, that's right.
So that was it. That was the big scam. The big
scam. We never tricked girls. Because, I mean...
I think it's a crime.
It is a crime.
It is?
Right. Isn't it? Well...
I would imagine that taking the driver's test on some level...
Yeah, but that's against the government, though, so fuck them.
Yeah, right.
I could spin that and say it was like activism or something like that. You know, fighting the system, you know?
Why are you keeping my brother down?
Why are you keeping my brother down? Let him get his license.
You already took my father away. Give me my license.
Oh, that's good. Well, it's good that you don't have one of those horrible, duping the girl stories.
I just don't feel right doing it. I don't know.
I don't remember what those stories are usually. They're usually like that girl thinks she's with one of you and she's with both of you.
And then we tag out and then we
Right.
Yeah, but then it's like you gotta what if you don't like the girl, or what if you don't want to date? And
what if you just want to be a decent human?
Yeah, I want to be a decent human being, not trick people all the time. I want to be a supervillain.
I want to use my powers for good.
Well, good. Okay, so I get out here. Which one's Kenny and Keith?
Kenny's right here to the left.
Cat.
Yeah.
I guess we both
Black Cat.
Black Cat.
When people ask you that, what is the identifying characteristic? Like, I'm the one with the what?
I'm more depressing. You can't see it, but it's there.
Are you though?
I think so.
I would say he's more depressed. I mean, I have my stage of depression, but I feel like, once you have that, when you plateau and have that breakdown, you sort of build yourself back up.
Yeah,
and I feel like you're still so.
Well, I had my breakdown last year.
Yeah. Really? Wait, so you had different breakdowns?
Yeah, I had different breakdowns.
And yours was before?
My breakdown was when we were in law school.
You're Keith.
I'm Keith, yeah.
Okay, so you had a breakdown. Did you finish law school?
No.
Were you both in law school?
We were both in law school.
Really?
Yeah.
So you figured like this is we got our law firm is going to be like, think of the commercials.
Yeah.
You went into
Lucas and Lucas.
people would come to you just to see you.
Yeah. It'd be
Sheer
a spectacle.
Yeah. We might be shitty lawyers, but they look the same.
Oh, those commercials would have been great if you were just ambulance chaser.
Yeah.
We can still do those commercials. That's the thing. We're not. We can still do this.
Have you done them?
We want to.
That's a good sketch.
That's right. That's right.
So you go to high school in Newark.
We went to 3 different high schools.
Yeah.
Well, 4 different high schools.
Yeah.
We started off in High Point, North Carolina,
Mm-hmm.
and then we went to a few in Newark, New Jersey, and then we graduated from one in Irvington, probably the worst high school in Jersey.
Yeah.
And where'd you go to college?
I went to the college in New Jersey. It's small liberal arts, like real close to Princeton.
What were you studying? What was the intro?
Philosophy.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at. Like we get in here, I'll get back around to it. Let's move through the separate depressions and how you took care of each other. Like where you're like, I've been through this shit. I know exactly. You remember me?
I did this already, man. Listen to me.
You can't understand my pain.
No, I can.
You can't, literally. We have the same DNA.
Oh God. But so what, you studied philosophy because that's what we walk in here and you're dropping Spinoza.
Yeah, baby.
Because I've been obsessed with the guy. I got his books over there. I can't get through them. I always wanted to understand philosophy, but there's a language to it that you got to learn first. And there's a lot of things that got to be laid down about things like phenomenon, being, and
substance,
yada,
yada,
right.
yada.
And like I just never got hold of it. I don't have the like I would really have to nerd out, and I'm not that nerdy.
That's fair. No.
And like it always bums me out because I always look at those books going like it's all in there, and I can't access it.
Yeah.
Like Roland Barthes, I can get the postmodernists a bit because they're kind of funny.
Sure.
Like Baudrillard, I can get Nietzsche kind of. The poems are good, but like still there's it just seemed like anything that you would fucking pick up.
Start here, man.
Start here.
I think I had that.
Bertrand Russell is.
I had that.
He elucidates the theories, I think, in a very clear fashion. But obviously, you want to read through the original text, but
there's
no point to read Parmenides. You can just read.
Oh, just the name exhausting. I didn't even know that guy, but the EDs at the end, it's like I can't go back that far.
Yeah, that's fair.
I read Plato's Republic.
Yeah.
I read Aristotle, the Ethics. Right? Is that his?
Aristotle,
the Symposium,
Nicomachean Ethics, and the Symposium.
Yeah.
It's still pretty fresh with you guys.
Pre-Socratics.
You're still carrying around the history of Western
I
philosophy.
consider that the Bible, man.
Really?
The Bible, yeah.
The Bertrand Russell book.
Yeah.
Didn't he write one that's a lot more simple? Fuck it. Hold on.
I think that was Bertrand.
Probably is.
Oh, here it is. Right there.
That Bertrand?
Yes, Bertrand.
Problems of philosophy.
This is what I was told as a novice. It was like, just get that, and we'll get into it, right?
That's a good one to start with, too.
Yeah, so I'm like, all right, this will lay it out for me. And the contents, appearance and reality. All right, that sounds good. And then right the second chapter, you get into like the existence of matter. I'm like, do I have time?
Yeah. That's fair. You gotta love philosophy. And I'm sure you love it, but you have to
It just takes patience.
It takes patience.
But it's like math, man. It's like
it's very mathematical.
Yeah, because I took a philosophy class or logic class. In college where I thought like this will be good. I'll learn, I've done this twice and I've talked about it a bit. I took a logic class and I was there for like not even an hour, 10 minutes. I'm like, this is fucking math. This is math.
Yeah.
Right?
They deal with proofs and
a lot of geometry influences. Since Descartes, geometry has pretty much dominated philosophy.
See, like,
but even since Pythagoras.
Pythagoras too.
Yeah,
but I did all right in geometry. I couldn't handle algebra. I couldn't handle chemistry. But like my senior year of high school, like I aced philosophy because there are pictures. Yeah. But logic, I think I was looking for something else. Yeah. And I was like, I thought this was a logic class, and that was symbolic logic is what it is.
Yep.
And then I took a philosophy class years later as an adult at the New School when I was smoking a lot of weed. I was like, I'm gonna ace it now. Yeah. Like I took existentialism in college, but I was distracted.
Yeah.
Like, can't we just get to the answers?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing about philosophy.
Yeah.
Like they always conclude with, oh well, that's not an adequate answer, but we're going to still speculate.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's
but you guys dug it.
I dug it. I really
still dig it.
Still dig it. Yeah. Even more now than I did in college. I was still holding on to I don't know, some false beliefs in college, but now I feel like my mind, ever since doing comedy.
But now, like, I moved more into the poetic elements.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you know, there's a philosophy, like, you know, Nietzsche's got all the good poetry, and I move more towards art, you know, like, and poetry. It's like, that's where like, my girlfriend's a painter, and I'm like, this is how you interpret shit.
Yeah.
This is what life is. Yeah. You know, what do we got to complicate it with the fucking equations?
Yeah, that's fair.
But Spinoza, what's his trip? Because why were we referencing it coming in?
So Spinoza, you know, what I like about him is that he tries to ground the spiritual basis of Christianity in science. So he's essentially trying to shift
a Jew
religion from
a Jew.
He's a Jew. Sort of like,
they say he was the first secular Jewish person in Europe.
Yeah. So he's a Jew. He's saying, let's unpack this Christian business.
Yeah, that's right. I didn't think about it on that level. I did not think about it on that level. Yeah, and he's just like, I just think based on, like, I looked at the Hubble scope. You ever really look at the Hubble scope and you see, like,
the telescope?
Yeah, and you see the universe. I think his insights sort of predated that, where he's saying that, like, we're all sort of from the same source.
Yeah.
And that time is unreal, and that there is objective truth in the universe. We just can't understand it because our minds are limited. Like, our perceptions are limited.
Right.
There's only so much we can see, and then after looking through that telescope, I'm like, holy crap, there's more out there that we just don't.
We can probably never comprehend.
We can never comprehend.
Well, someone can probably comprehend it in the future, but I don't know if we can now.
Well, let me ask you, like, just on a practical level. See, like, when you say that to me, I'm like, yeah, that obviously the space seems vast.
It is vast.
Yeah, and like, but you know, how do you not? I you know, obviously I'm pro science.
Sure. Yeah.
But, like, you know, I'm like, I had to change my tire today, and you know, and that took, you know, 2 days of thinking.
Yeah.
So, like, you know, getting from there to, like, what about this universe is sort of like, I don't know if I have the time for that. And I'm not sure that it's going to help me right now.
That's fair. I think for me, it's like, it's good to know that there's someone thinking about things that I think about, and he provides pretty reasonable arguments. Like, he says, yeah, the universe is deterministic, materialistic, and we probably don't have free will. I think that's true. But we do have a mind that can speculate. We have a mind that can go...
It's limitless.
It's limitless. Your mind can think about anything. So in that sense, we are free, right? Like,
we're free to think about the shit that we want to think about.
Right. Yeah. So you're saying that, like, so this premise is that the universe is just entropic and deterministic, and, you know, everything sort of happens outside of us, and we have very little control over anything.
Yes.
But we do have a freedom of mind.
We have consciousness.
We have consciousness.
That's another way to put it.
Yeah.
Is that yours? So
certainly no.
That's good. I'm going to write that down. Consciousness.
Awareness.
Yeah. Self-awareness.
But no, the connection to the universe. I mean, if the universe is comprised of consciousness and it's through us, then
we're connected to something larger.
No, I get that, but I guess it really, what you do then with all this information is just a nice sort of groundwork to understand reality from.
Yeah, I mean, precisely. And
you don't have any problem with reality. The idea of reality?
I do. I think that we think that we live in a reality, but we're actually suspended in space, and the only reason that our Earth is the way it is are because of the conditions that are set by the universe.
Sure.
Gravity.
But you got no truck with the fact that I'm holding a cup.
Yeah, I'm not an extreme skeptic.
Well, I mean, if you reduce that to a subatomic particle.
No, I get that.
There's something. But there's
something there. Yeah. But it's not what we think it is.
Yeah, but you can't be engaged on that level every day when you wake up. It's like, I want some eggs. It's like, what difference does it matter what you eat when you break it down?
Yeah. But I think as a human, you just make certain assumptions, and then you just move on with your life. I mean,
you have to.
Yeah, you have to.
You can't get stuck at the cup or no cup.
Yeah, exactly. But you can also speculate. Yeah, and that's the beauty of the human mind.
Sure, when you want to annoy people.
That's right.
With your philosophical wisdom. One of those, two assholes going like, wait, but do we really know? Like, it's like, oh fuck, the Lucas twins are doing it again. Just you cornering one idiot who's like, but wait. How many times has that happened?
I try not to be an asshole too.
Well, that's open to interpretation, isn't it?
It really is.
Maybe I'm going to bring in 3 people that met you in college.
But what does it mean to be an asshole? That's the question you must ask yourself.
Oh, I know what it means. I'm very clear. Yeah. When the girl is crying.
Yeah, okay. That's fair.
That's a definitive conclusion. Yes, you're right.
You would probably be an asshole.
That's right. So the fact that you still carry the history of Western philosophy, we didn't finish. Spinoza found some scientific, what did he glean? Why were we talking about him when we came in here?
I don't think he did much research in terms of, I think he was more
he was
thinker.
a pure rationalist.
But I just think that he got it right on some level where he's saying that we're all from the same source.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And I think
Africa, right?
Africa, we're all from Africa. We're all niggas. We're all niggas. So just
that's what Spinoza said.
You're all niggas, guys.
They retitled that book, though, didn't it? Isn't it called The Ethics?
Now it's called The Ethics.
They
couldn't use the N word.
Yeah, they had to change it up a bit.
Yeah, all right. So I get that.
And he was like banished from every major.
Yeah, he got
the Catholic Church.
Yeah. Isn't that interesting that when you really think about those sort of cataclysms of history and persecution, and you know that these thinkers were put away, and it's been a very kind of like horribly chaotic and destructive process civilization.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean,
by then everybody was pretty well civilized.
I know. Crazy.
But it was church driven, right?
Oh, yeah. The church and the state.
The church had the power of the state, right?
Yeah.
And even now the cataclysms continue. They just continue.
It seems like it gets more powerful, which is strange. You would think that, with the advances of science and the fact that we have more information.
Well, science is in its infancy, and then religion's been associated with politics in the state since
Constantine. Religion has been fighting science since day one.
Since day one.
Yeah,
since
because
one dude was like, oh.
Well, progress on those levels is less important to people who want to attain and maintain power.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep. That's right.
And get shit done and get all the money.
Yep. That's it. That's
greed
and power, man.
Yeah.
And you'll do whatever it takes.
I don't understand that. I'm fortunate in that, I've got a lot of flaws. But greed ain't one of them.
Yeah.
I don't have that one. I don't understand the logic of it, foregoing any sort of moral intent.
Yeah.
Or justifying or rationalizing out of greed. I just don't have that one.
Same,
I got other problems. I got drug problems.
Yeah. I mean,
me too.
I got the other 6, 7 deadly.
but at least you don't got greed.
I don't got that one.
Yeah. So for some reason, greed just strikes me as like, not only do you want to acquire power and money, but it's something that you have to constantly think about.
Yeah.
Like if you're not happy unless you have obtained this thing. And even when you obtain all the material in the world, you're still not happy.
Yeah.
And that's what strikes me as like, I just don't, greed is such a...
Well, where does...
It's a mental thing.
Wait, look in the index of the history of Western philosophy under happiness. See what's listed. How many pages in there?
Oh, yeah. Happiness, they probably have.
Give it a try.
It's all
maybe it's not for happiness. Maybe it's just power. You just want to dominate other people.
But the question of happiness, as comics, as philosophers, and as an idea... Is it in there?
That's definitely in there.
Oh, I bet.
That's all they talk about.
Oh,
happiness is...
There it is.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Oh, really?
9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14.
Oh, really?
15, 16, 17. Yeah, it's...
And can you sum up some of the philosophical arc around happiness?
I think the big thing for philosophers is that to be happy, you have to live a virtuous life committed to reason.
To the study of
philosophy.
That's all philosophy. That's metaphysics,
epistemology, logic,
aesthetics.
Right.
Aesthetics, all of it. You have to be committed to understanding.
Living clean.
Yeah. Living clean.
Balancing shit.
Yeah.
Making room for new shit.
Yeah.
But arguing about it.
Sure. Yeah. Debating, discussing.
Criticizing everything.
Mm-hmm. So
being annoying.
Being an asshole.
Well, it's good that you guys didn't talk to other people much. So you just have these conversations with each other? Did it ever come down to like, I'm going to hit you if you don't shut up because you're wrong about this metaphysical situation?
We've gotten to some very intense discussions regarding metaphysics.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It gets really, really heated.
Because I'm more of a rationalist and he's more of an empiricist.
I would say so. He likes to say that I'm an extreme skeptic, which I'm not.
I think
I'm more. I'm a little bit more cautious. I'm a little bit more skeptical.
You're skeptical,
but not an extreme skeptic.
Yeah, I like to make bold assertions.
Mm-hmm. Like what?
Like free will doesn't exist, or that time is unreal.
And I would argue that there's not enough information to conclude that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And that is that's an execution of his free will. He's just shutting you the fuck down.
That's
I
fair.
think you're wrong. What are you going to do now? So I guess that proves it.
Yep. Shit, if I was going to punch you, I would have done it already.
So you guys are, so this all gets you get turned on to this shit in college.
Yeah.
And then you're like, what, I guess there was a twin, conversation of like, well, what do we do with all this bullshit? And you thought law.
Yeah.
Because you wanted to be this, philosophically virtuous dudes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Who were gonna, help.
I wish that was the mode of thinking. It was more, I was poor.
So it's greed.
It's greed. It was driven by greed. I wanted to make money.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. What seemed to be the only path.
We did a internship at fellowship at Princeton with professors, and we saw what the life would be like for PhD candidates, and we talked to some
philosophy.
Yeah, and it sounded brutal. It was like it was hard to get a job. I was like, but you guys go to Princeton, you should be able to get a job outside of. And they were like, no, it's difficult.
Yeah. No one's looking for philosopher PhDs that focused on Kant.
Yeah,
so maybe
Kant's metaphysics.
Like, we need a doctor in here. Can someone help us? Yes, I am a doctor in philosophy. You can't help, motherfucker.
This guy's bleeding.
You're gonna think away the problem.
Well, is it a problem?
Yeah. Or is it? Spinoza would say it's not.
So the compulsion towards law had nothing to do with justice.
No. I don't even know what justice is.
That's disappointing.
I'm disappointed in myself.
It is what it is. Yeah. What is justice?
What is it?
Yeah.
What is it?
Beats me. I mean, maybe some version of equality, but then you're like, what is equality?
I think it's equal treatment.
Fair treatment under the law.
Yeah.
But even then,
that's a specific type of justice.
Yeah, I know. So, Plato said justice is just allowing, the greatest minds to rule the
philosopher king.
Yeah,
that doesn't pan out.
No,
generally they're either relatively ineffectual or horrendously tyrannical.
Yes. Yeah.
Because the problem, the wiggle room on the best minds is like it's the new idea guys that are a real problem.
Oh yeah,
big problem.
Oh yeah,
they are psychotic, and they justify everything.
That's right.
Everything.
Yeah, I'm the smartest man in the world.
Yeah.
This is the way it's going to work. Oh, you don't like that? Put him in the hole. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the dudes with the bold ideas.
Yeah.
Oh,
Look
yeah.
at Mussolini. He was,
sure. Bold ideas and uniforms.
Yep.
9 times out of 10, not a good guy. Not a good
No.
Tends to lead to tyranny.
Hundreds of thousands of people will probably die.
Yeah. It's been going on since the beginning.
Since the beginning.
Unbelievable. So, all right, so you go to law school, and how do you crap out there?
Man,
I think you guys would have been great teachers. Everybody would have wanted to get high and go to the Lucas Brothers philosophy.
Yeah. But, we still might do it.
Yeah.
Like, since I've rekindled my love for philosophy. But yeah, law just was the antithesis of.
How old are you guys?
31.
Oh, so you still got that thing like, we could still teach. If this doesn't.
Yeah. Delude ourselves into believing
that'll go away.
If it doesn't work.
I know.
Because eventually you get to a point, it's like, what credentials do we have to teach anything?
Yeah, that's right.
Well,
but
maybe
it's philosophy.
Yeah, it's philosophy. Socrates didn't get a PhD. He just sort of use some nonsense. And
sure, yeah. So you
him.
want to be street teachers?
Yeah.
Right. You want to be like those guys?
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
What are the weird twins doing over there?
Oh, they're
talking about some shit. And then people are hanging out.
Yeah. Look, man, if Manson was able to, get a following, I think we could figure it out.
Yeah, that didn't go well either.
It went well for a bit, and then he just
very, very short period of time. Didn't seem to have the right answers. The agenda was like a little dubious.
Well, I mean, he was talking about the black-white race war, and I think we're inching closer. And I don't know.
He wanted to start it.
He wanted to start it, but his problem was it was already happening.
Yeah.
The race war has been around since we got here.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's been a perpetual war.
Right. He was just trying to modernize it.
Yeah.
By some very small, violent endeavors.
Yeah.
He a lofty thinker, that guy.
Manson, jeez.
So you got to law school and you just were like, fuck it?
No, I was my first year because I went to NYU. And I was literally right around the corner from the Comedy Cellar.
Well, where was he?
I was at Duke. Yeah.
You guys split up?
We split up for 2.5 years.
Holy shit! How'd that go?
Brutal. It was
really
weird, man, because
that
was the first time I was treated as an individual.
Yeah,
and it was a little shocking for me because I
couldn't handle it.
I just I don't like being known as Keith. Like I'm not Keith. Who is Keith? Who is this Keith guy you're talking about? I know I had to flesh him out now. Like, oh fuck, this is way too much work for me. As a twin,
where's Kenny?
Where's the person that's always by my side?
Yeah. And what is that when you went into your depression?
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah, it was when I wasn't really feeling law. I didn't like the job.
But you both went to different law schools. That was the deal. And they were good ones.
Good ones, but, I mean, when you don't have your brother there, I feel like that, and at least for me, it impacted how I treated the career. It felt like we were slowly just breaking apart.
Yeah.
Gradually.
You felt that too?
Same. Yeah. And I was in a relationship at the time, and I could only think about my brother. And I remember, like, when we would attack philosophy.
Yeah.
We would do it together.
Yeah. Right.
We'd have, like, discussions and
so much
hours.
Yeah.
Just talking about things.
It's making me sad. I'm glad that I can see that it ended up in a happy ending.
Yeah.
But, like, right now in the story, I'm like, oh, what happened?
So you do get that separation.
But you were with a woman?
Yeah.
And you were alone?
I was a free-wheeler, just free.
And were you kind of kicking around campus alone going like, he doesn't like me anymore?
I mean,
he's got that chick, you know.
I started to just like lose myself into other things like booze and girls.
Yeah,
and just trying to find some sort of replacement to
I developed a drug habit while in law school.
Yeah, you did?
Yeah, drinking.
Same.
Oh, really?
Smoking a lot of marijuana and just trying to get my mind off of the idea of like traveling this universe. You're mostly alone. And so like I got so used to
the philosophy fucked you.
Yeah.
Because like you understood it intellectually, but in a physical universe, you're like, but I'm not alone. No. I got a guy that looks exactly like me,
always by my
another
side.
state, and we need to pull this shit together because that's the only way we can fight the existential horror.
Yeah, absolutely. And like the dread, like. You have all these thoughts in your head, and they just stay there when you're by yourself. When I had my brother there, I could
Tell me about it.
I can always just talk to him.
Sure.
Get it out.
Yeah.
And it was unfair. I treated him as my therapist.
Yeah.
When in reality, I
did the same thing.
Yeah.
So there was a mutual.
But is it really that, or I imagine that there has to be some strange symbiotic ability that you guys have over other people in terms of emotional understanding.
Sure.
To each other at least.
Sure, absolutely.
Like I know the Sklar brothers. I think they're identical.
They are.
When I first started watching the Sklar brothers, I'm like, they're doing the act of one guy. Like there was no definitive he's the setup guy, he's the straight man. It was just sort of like finishing sentences and finishing thoughts, and it was very organic and kind of odd, but it was really like two guys doing one guy's act.
Yeah.
Well,
but I think the argument that we can make is that we are kind of one guy. We just sort of split in the fucking womb.
So now we're getting into medicine and philosophy.
Yes. I think we are technically one guy.
I think it's because we have such a shared experience.
Right.
But I think you want to get to the point where you can specify the two and see who you can individualize.
Infuse some of your pain into it that's distinct from his.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, right.
I have distinct pain. I mean, I have a different set of issues that I have to deal with, and I think that if we can,
do you?
Yeah, I think so.
Absolutely.
I think so.
Absolutely. I think we worry about different things. I think our depression comes from the same source.
Yeah.
But how we deal with it.
Interesting.
Is a little different.
So you're fucking drinking and you're getting fucked up down in, what is that, North Carolina.
Yeah,
he's in New York City, he's already got the edge on. He's like in the world.
He's in a better place.
I'm not saying it's not, it's nice down there.
Durham's beautiful. It's
great. I was just there. It's great. Great town.
But you sort of like, again, it's that loneliness. And you're constantly in your mind and you're starting to chase these things that you think will bring you happiness. And when they don't, you sort of, I don't know, you have a bit of an existential breakdown.
Right. Well, I think that's it. The thing about being in your head, if there are two of you, at least you can just jump into his head and you can jump back and forth.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Right.
But that's absolutely
right. And it's been there since the womb.
Since day
you're doing that.
That's right. Exactly.
So what facilitated the reunion?
Well, I thought about suicide. I was thinking suicide.
Yeah.
And
oh my God, what the hell would he do?
I know. And that's the reason I didn't do it.
It's like, fuck it. Come on, man.
That's the reason I didn't do it. I was like, I can't leave my brother on this earth by himself. So I said no, but I still, had to.
Was it self-pity, an intellectual exercise, or when you look back on it, do you feel like you were really there?
No, it was more self-pity.
Yeah.
It was more, I don't think I was there.
Yeah.
I think I was just going through a moment and I didn't know how to handle it.
Right.
So it was one of those things.
So did he come down and save you?
I was actually in New York.
Oh.
But he did save me. And he was there for me for what? I don't know, you were always there for me.
Yeah.
And
it was,
at that point, I think he started to think, maybe this law shit isn't the path for us.
Yeah.
Maybe law, not just law, but maybe the circumstances of us not being together.
Yeah.
And is having an effect on both of us.
Yeah. Right.
I was examining the consequences and saying to myself that if being separate and doing something that we don't like leads us here, then maybe we should do something together that we do like. Yeah, that was the simple logic.
Yeah.
And so comedy, I would go to the Comedy Cellar all the time. It was right there, and I would just go watch. And I was like, I don't think we will be great at this, but it could be. It's fun.
Mm-hmm. We got a hook.
We got a hook. We got an angle.
Yeah, and we love comedy, so perhaps there's something there.
Yeah.
So where'd you start? New York?
Started in New York.
So you
Jersey.
You dropped out of school?
So he called me up. He was like, do you want to drop out? And I was like, absolutely.
Yeah.
And so I dropped out and I moved to Jersey.
Yeah.
He was living with his girlfriend at the time.
And we were going through a breakup because I told her I didn't want to be a lawyer. I wanted to be a stand-up comedian.
Yeah.
And she was like, well, that's not realistic. And I was like, you're right. It's not.
It's not
you should
realistic.
probably leave.
But good for you. My brother's moving back.
I got my brother back.
You know what? He's cooler anyway. We can play video games and smoke weed. Can't do that with you. You have babies over.
And what'd your mom think of this decision?
Our mom has always been super supportive of anything that we've done. Like, she was just happy that we got out of high school.
Yeah.
So, like, when we said we were going to do comedy for the sake of doing comedy, she was like, yeah, why not? And she supported us.
And she was probably happy you guys were together.
Yeah. She just wants us to be happy. So anything that makes us happy, she's completely on board.
That's right.
Did you tell her it was living a virtuous life?
No, she's like, make some money. Virtue ain't gonna pay the bills.
Virtue does not pay the rent. I wish it did, though. That would be awesome.
So where you guys started in Jersey?
Jersey.
What was what were the first bits like? What was the angle?
Man, I mean, well,
were you doing more sketch? Did you think, or was it right from the beginning? You had a dynamic.
Well, Kenny started before me, so he sort of had.
I took some comedy classes in New York.
Did you learn things in those?
I did. I think I learned a lot of good things. I think the one thing that stuck with me always was never hold the mic cord. It's weird. Keep the mic up. Deliver your punchlines confidently. I mean, these are. I know that they seem basic, but like
when you just hold the mic cord,
don't because there were comedians who would get up and they'd be nervous and then they'd start like
playing with the cord
and like looking around or playing with the
well, you do have to make some decision at some point. It's like, is it going to stay in the stand? Or am I going to take that fucking thing out?
That's right.
And deal with that business?
Yeah. I like to do. I don't know. I like to play around with both of them. But
yeah,
usually,
me too. Yeah. It obviously becomes habit of some kind.
Of course.
You're at some point you're not hung up on what's going to happen with the microphone.
Yeah.
You know, I still go off mic sometimes, but I like to do it. But yeah, the only thing I have a problem with the tripod stands, like that one back there. If I see one of those on stage, I'm like, that's not happening.
Yeah.
I hate
that's
it. Gonna fuck you.
I don't like those.
It's gonna fuck you.
Or I hate when like it's attached to the piano and you gotta like.
Oh, that. Or I won't do cordless. No, can't do it.
No.
Yeah, but it's a philosophical thing. I'm like, I don't believe in this magic.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, it's just weird. They don't fit in the stand right. They're always bulky. They haven't aced it yet. Yeah. So, but those stands will always fuck you. You're going to be wrestling with one of those things during your act if that's there. And usually it's at music venues and like, nope. Just give me what do they call it? A 58 on a stick.
Yep, that's all I need.
With a wire.
Yep.
I need to know that I'm connected to something.
That's right.
But did you learn anything about structure? I think the biggest benefit of those classes is that usually you get to go on stage at the end. Usually,
that one showcase.
The big payoff is like, we're going to do a night at Stand Up New York.
Yeah, I mean, and it helps to.
You did it too?
When I came to Jersey, we took a class. We took Joe Monteris's class at the Stress Factory.
Joe was teaching one too?
Joe's teaching one.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Joe's a good guy.
I love Joe.
I like Joe.
What'd you learn from Joe? To be intense?
He was actually the one who said, just be you, like, be yourself. Like, have fun. Like, just like, whatever you feel is right.
I love that guy. I think he's a sweet guy.
He's so great.
Yeah, he also said, like, go personal. Like, be personal.
Yeah.
Talk about the issues that are affecting you.
Yeah.
When we first started, it was all just this observational stuff, which we still kind of do, but like, we realized at some point we had to get personal.
Because you want to tell your story, right? Yeah. Like I think.
Yeah, because like I imagine at some point there's an audience going like, what the fuck? Yeah. Well, how do you guys live?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There is a strange...
Do you sit there in the morning and go like, do you want to wear these today? Or could I wear them?
That happens. It does happen. It does.
We think it's normal, like, but it's not.
It is normal.
Well, it is
normal
normal for us.
Yeah.
It's a very symbiotic relationship. Like I see him and I say, oh, this is what you should do, or this is what you ought to do, and it's like a back and forth.
But you have this moment like we can't wear the exact same thing.
When we first started, we thought we had to be a little different, but as we're getting into it, we're like, fuck it, man. Let's like. What language do we use? Let's not maximize the gimmick, but let's
take it to its logical.
Let's take the gimmick to its logical conclusion. Let's see how far it can go.
Yeah.
Because why not?
Yeah.
Because why not?
That's the intriguing thing, right?
Yeah.
I think.
Well, it's intriguing, but also you guys are thoughtful guys. That becomes like, I imagine that becomes the bigger challenge is that once you realize like, we maximize the gimmick, but what we really have to offer is our point of view.
Sure.
Either together or separate. We're thoughtful, intelligent people that write thoughtful, intelligent stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, that has to transcend the gimmick. That has to be the surprise.
Absolutely.
Right?
I agree. I totally agree. I mean, I feel like if you can put some substance behind the gimmick, it'll have more of an impact, or at least it'll
because Hollywood wants us to be like stoners and
the happy stoner.
Well, yeah, but you're going to be up against that. Like if you're going to be doing this together and you're going to be working this angle, like you're going to be a punchline, until you're not.
Yeah.
If you can transcend that, who knows?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a challenge, right?
Yeah. But I mean, obviously, we can transcend it in your own work.
Sure.
But in terms of casting and that kind of stuff, it's like it's got to be like maybe when the thing on fire falls out the building, the two black guys, the twins, should be like, "What happened? I don't know."
That's it. I mean, that's no nuance. The Hollywood nuance right there. I mean, that's the thing. Like that's why I'm glad we have stand-up, because stand-up gives you that
freedom.
It gives you that freedom to be you.
Yeah.
Whereas Hollywood, they're going to put you in a box.
But yeah, so you started in Jersey. You were at Vinny's Club. Where were you?
We were at the Stress Factory. Yeah. We did a lot of the small alternative rooms. And it's not many in Jersey, but we realized quickly that...
Oh, they were already there when you started. The alternative was a thing, yeah.
They were already, Bar shows.
Yeah.
It was always like people who were just like taking some time off from like a job to do it part-time.
You could tell they weren't doing it like...
Right.
Not all of them, but
they weren't lifers.
Yeah, there were some lifers there, but... Yeah. They were always like, we got to make the move in New York.
Yeah. You get those old Jersey guys who sort of like, I'll do the new thing. They come down.
And then we.
But did you like Roger Paul rooms and shit? Were those around yet? The one-nighters and stuff?
No.
No. Maybe that was done.
We were doing.
Did you ever do Rascals?
We never did Rascals.
Is that gone?
I think it's still there.
Oh,
I just don't think we ever did it.
No,
we
were
Tony
doing
Camacho
open mics,
rooms.
We were doing like a lot of open mics.
Yeah, you guys came a different generation than me. But you did Vinny's room.
We did Stress Factory once. During that time.
Yeah.
And we did some of the open mics there, but we weren't really performing at big shows.
When did you have an act? How long did it take?
3 days ago. I think it might be there. We still got some time.
I mean we sort of had a connection on stage, but we didn't have any substantive jokes.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe once we moved to Brooklyn.
Yeah.
That's when we started to realize, okay, this is how you do stand-up.
Well, because there's a community there. Then the competition sets in.
Yeah, you see people like
we got to get some game. Who?
We saw Norman and Michael Che and
Kevin
Barnett and
everyone. Like
Lawrence. All these guys were there at the same time. Mike Lawrence. And they were all there at the same time. We went to this open mic called the Woodshed in at Legion Bar.
Yeah.
And it was 50 to 60 comics, and it was like those guys, and they were just in 2 minutes just some of the best jokes I've ever heard. And I'm like, holy shit.
Mike Lawrence is kind of a joke wizard.
I mean, he's a wizard. I mean, he's a maestro, and Norman's a maestro. And
Who's Norm?
Mark Norman?
I don't. Oh yeah. Okay, yeah.
He's another guy who's just spitting out jokes, and you're like, holy shit! Like, this is real comedy. This is actual comedy.
Yeah.
So you study those guys.
The Attell school.
Yeah. Yeah. Or Hannibal, like all these guys. Like
Louis C.K. had it. Like, you guys. You
guys
profound
set the stage.
But it's weird. Like you watch. Like I worked with Mike, and like I remember because he was represented by the woman who represented me, and the first time he opened for me. And you meet him, and it's sort of like, where's this gonna go? Yeah. How's this gonna work?
Yeah.
And the way he owns who he is on stage is it's brilliant.
It is.
And you just like to see that guy go in front of a room of people who are immediately judging him.
Completely.
Like what the fuck is, why is this guy out of his mom's house?
His mom's basement.
Yeah, and then he just fucking unloads.
Fearless. I mean, he's fearless, and he has
so good.
A punchline every 3 seconds.
Oh yeah,
he can just ring them off. I've never seen it.
That's the Attell thing, that different than Louis, because Louis is sort of abstract. But like I always come back to Attell. I was talking about him the other night. Who's that? Ryan Singer was out opening for him, but like to watch Attell, more than anybody else, and I'm not that kind of joke writer, but it's sort of like, why should I even do this?
You marvel at it, you're like, holy
it's
shit.
Unbelievable.
It's unreal.
Mike's like that too.
Yeah. I mean, it's incredible.
So you got the fire under. You're like, well, we can't fucking fake through it anymore.
Yeah, we can't just be this twin gimmick anymore.
Maximizing the gimmick thing just got diminished.
How about we write some jokes? Learn how to write jokes.
Yeah.
And Brooklyn is the place to be in terms of joke writing. It was just expert joke writing.
And it's a good community, It's not as
great community.
Yeah, there's the whole generation you guys come from. We were all kind of, I don't know, my generation, you never felt, well, we were all comics, but and there was a community, but you guys all seemed to, kind of genuinely like each other. Mm-hmm. I guess we did too. Maybe I shouldn't diminish it. It just felt more competitive when I was doing it because the club system was in place. So you really were, you were all trying to get the same thing, and it was limited.
Less opportunity, right?
I mean, I think so.
Especially with, even in Hollywood, it's just network
TV.
Like
if you're gonna do comedy clubs, if you're gonna make money as a comic at that time, you had to do the clubs. You couldn't just sort of like, well, Hannibal's got that thing on Monday night. Does it pay? No, it doesn't matter. It's like, we were kind of like, if you didn't do the free spots were supposed to stop after your open mic day.
I see.
Even if it was $25.
Yeah.
The idea was like, we got to get these spots where you get the money.
Yeah.
And work the club. Got to figure out how to work a club and work for any audience, not just like-minded people.
Yeah.
And I'm not being condescending. I mean, I was there at the beginning of whatever alt comedy was called, but for me, it was just sort of like, you mean I can just come here and I don't have to do jokes? I can blow off steam and think out loud? That sounds good. You can't do that at a club.
No, you gotta give them some jokes.
Yeah.
And I think that's good.
Yeah.
But I also think there's something great about also not thinking about the joke and arriving at it more in a spiritual way. But
spiritual way. That's interesting. How do you mean?
Because
we're not machines.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm not either. But
I know.
But like, I'm curious if you like
sometimes
being that we're talking philosophy, what is the spiritual component?
Okay, so I think you can come up with jokes in two ways. You can do it like in a way that's I priori, and that's just like sitting there writing it and figuring out the formal structure.
That's not my way.
That's normally not my way either. I think a better way, not a better way, but the way that I've just grown accustomed to is like living and then arriving at the punchline organically and like if you're telling a bit riff it out, a story. If you're telling
dialectical,
like a more experimental way of arriving.
Well, yeah, because then like for me, and it took me a long time to realize this, is that once you for whatever reason, whether you believe it or not, you're a funny person, right? So, like, you can write those jokes and you go up and like, I'm going to try this joke. Mm-hmm. And you do the math of it. That's symbolic logic.
Yeah.
That is exactly what it is, right?
Yeah,
so it's like, okay, there's the 3, there's the 5, there's the beat. If I take that word out, boom, it's a math equation.
Yep.
And then you go up and it's like, well, maybe that didn't quite work the way I wanted it to.
Maybe
and I do that, I'm doing that a little more recently just because I want to give myself a break from the existential, spiritual struggle. But like most of my jokes are written where like I got an idea, I go up there, I start talking about the idea, and because of the pressure, then like, you know, like the one thing I know is like I got to be funny.
Yeah.
So like I corner myself, and then you just wait for the muse. Like, is it going to come? Is it like, and you think you do the thought, and then you like just out of necessity. The funny thing happens.
And isn't that beautiful, though?
It's the best.
It's beautiful.
Because you don't know where it came from.
You don't know where it came from.
Like you have these jokes you do for a year, and it's like, it's beautiful, and then something else will just add on to it.
Yeah,
and you're like, where'd that come from?
Yeah.
Did you write that? I'm like, no, it came.
Yeah.
I love that part.
That's the beauty of the human mind. Like things
I love it.
flow to you, and you're just like you're in your.
The beauty of the human mind is being terrified and out of necessity.
But it's like you're almost working with the crowd too.
Yeah.
You're working with the audience to come up with this sort of idea.
Yeah.
And there are moments that happen on stage where I'm like, that was the best thing that's going to happen tonight, and it's never going to happen again.
I know. That's the best thing. When you do something, it's like, oh, it's great. I'm never going to do it.
I don't even know how it happened. But I know enough to know it's not repeatable.
Well, it's not repeatable.
Right.
Yeah. But every show is different. Every audience is different. I mean, you never really perform in front of the same group of people. You've never done it.
No. Nope. Unless you're doing those bringer shows.
Yeah. Another one. Please, not again.
Are they still doing the same shit? Like, when am I on? You just look in the room and you're like, oh, fuck, how long has he been up there?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I know that feeling. I was watching, last night I went to the Comedy Store, and I had not stayed late in a long time, you know, and I used to work the door there, and there's just that shift, you know, like I like going on early, so it's a nice fresh audience. No one's too fucked up. And but like, you know, I stayed like till midnight. Ooh. And there's like this shift where you got a full room, and then at some point, you know, just collectively for no reason, like half the audience is like, we're done.
Oh, fuck it.
And they're bringing up a dude, and then half the audience it was Eric Griffin, and I just saw like 40 people. They get up and they're walking as he's coming to the stage, and I'm like, oh, this is where it really happened.
Yeah.
Now he's got to go fucking pull this shit together.
Yeah.
And it was kind of wild because like it's that's the comic experience. As a comic, how many times you've seen that? Just a dude or a woman or two dudes just sort of like working 9 people.
Yeah.
That's what they got.
Yeah. And you gotta work with what you got.
Yeah. It's great. It's great.
Comedy prepares you for life though, you know what I mean?
I think
never know what
I
you're
see it like
get.
it's always the same. It's like you got the audience, you got the mic, it doesn't matter if it's 9 people or 50,000.
But as you get older, you know, you have these amazing things with 9 people or with 4 people, but when you really think about it, you know, if the stage wasn't there and the mic wasn't there, you're just you talking to 4 people. You know, just people that you don't know.
Yeah,
you know,
random strangers.
But things can happen in those shows. They're like, that was the greatest show ever. It's like, well, was it a show?
Yeah. What's a show? Well, now we're going back to philosophy.
Now this is philosophy.
What are the necessary and sufficient conditions?
But it is, and you remember them, like, you know, 9 people is always the number. You know,
it's always 9.
Yeah, because there's
10's too many.
Yeah, there's an odd one out there. Yeah, that one guy was by himself, and he was there all night. Oh, fuck. You know, it's like weird. You go to the Comedy Store and like, you know, I'm wandering around. And I go right back into like, you know, I'm just shy of, you know, working the door.
Yeah.
You know, cause like the muscles there, like, you know, you want me to seat these guys? You know, like, but then you start looking at people and like I had this moment because, you know, we live in the world we live in, and it's, you know, and it's like insanity over there, and it's just this weird. It's always been this vortex of loose people,
for sure.
And like, there's just some guy sitting on a wall talking to himself, and I walk by him twice, and I'm like, ugh. What is that? Yeah. And I walk up to one of the door guys. I'm like, who's the guy around the corner sitting on the wall talking to himself? And I knew in my mind that he was going to walk over there and come back and go, yeah, it's a comic.
It's like, damn.
It was. Like, okay, so as long as he's not preparing for something other than maybe
but you never truly know, man.
You don't
Comedians
know.
are we're a strange bunch.
All right, so when did you get depressed?
I got depressed last year. It was
holy shit. You kind of waited.
I waited. I was too concerned about his depression. I was like, I put mine aside. I was like, I gotta focus.
But you must have had a lot more sort of like you must have had a bigger philosophical defense of your depression.
Yeah, of course. I built up the years. So I was ready to defend it. No, I think it was just like coming from Brooklyn and moving to Hollywood, it was such a jarring thing for me because Hollywood's just a different place. Animal. It's a different animal.
It's like there's nothing really like it, and you know,
it's unlike anything.
And there's no real like there's no center to it.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like there's no cultural center to it. It's
right.
It's just it's so infused with Hollywood, and I love
California.
I don't love the business, but I love I love the idea of Hollywood.
Yeah, I guess so.
I mean, just because like maybe
I do too. No, I mean,
I'm trying to figure out a better way to say this. I mean, we watch so much stuff that you
have to be enamored by it. Yeah.
I think it was different when it was a little more intimate. Like there was less options. You know, now it's sort of so broke open where you know people are like I do a joke about it on stage where I say like it's gotten to the point I don't know if I'm old where someone can ask me if I've seen a show. Not only have I not heard of the show, but when they tell me where it's on, I don't know what that is.
That's true. That's true. We had a show on True TV. Like, what's True TV?
How do I get that?
What is that? Yeah. That's true. It's like it's so splintered now.
But there is the idea that, you know, if you do your creative work and you keep your shit together, that you can surface.
Precisely.
Right.
Sure. And that's still a thing, I think.
Sure. And you go to meetings at big buildings and offices with people and you talk to them about yourself and you pitch things and you walk out going like, that guy's in charge of our future. Those three people are going to make the decision.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah. It's so weird. It's like, but I'm the comedic genius.
What do they know?
What do they know? I know more. So I know Lenny Bruce. I read about the book.
They don't read Spinoza.
They know they've got to fill their schedule with clowns that come in and they're like, "What are you doing this afternoon?" Well, we're I had 2 wines, but we got these twins coming in, so that should be fun.
Yeah. So you start to instantly realize, oh, I'm just a fucking commodity.
I didn't feel like a commodity anymore.
And that's what threw you?
It threw me.
Oh yeah.
I've been trying to move away from that for so long with the law shit, and I wanted to, do comedy for a spiritual reason.
But wasn't the commodity didn't have any historical ghosts?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
That's like I didn't need to bring race into it.
That's a good point. I didn't think about that.
Oh, good. Yes, that's why better off.
No, but that's right. But maybe that's a part of it. Maybe that was a part of it. Feeling like, I'm labor, and I'm like, it's not about the comedy.
But not only labor, but you're also up against that. You're not one black guy fighting against typecasting, but you're 2 black guys.
2 black guys,
fighting against a different type of podcasting.
Yeah, that's right.
No, they're nerdy stoner black guys, and they're twins, so it's not really about them being black.
No.
They're not doing a regular black thing.
No, they're doing this twin thing, which they can just sort of imbue the race into it, and we can get the best of both worlds, and it's like, I just want to do comedy.
Yeah, right. So how did you pull out of that? How'd you save him from the commodification?
It was him. It was Keith.
The existential commodification depression.
Keith constantly said, "Look, man, we're doing this shit together. This is fun. This is
Hollywood. It's still an experience. Yeah. I mean, for better or for worse, it's us going through an experience. And like I said, I tell them like no great story is told without obstacles. So like even with the obstacles, you're still living a decent story. Just embrace that. Embrace that moment. Not think about the end result.
And then
give a shit.
And then he looked at you and he went, "All right, what's that bit we're doing?"
All right. Let's
get back to the pot bit.
Let's do the bit.
Let's do the weed thing.
Let's do the weed thing.
But, I mean, a lot of it was actually our past trauma. We never really
resurfacing.
We never really addressed growing up where we grew up, and it sort of manifested itself in different ways. With law, with comedy, we just didn't address the childhood trauma.
Which was specifically what?
A father, not growing up without a father, growing up poor, growing up with an abusive stepfather, growing up in a drug addict,
the deaths, like
the suicides, I just repressed it all. I never talked to a therapist about it. I was just like, fuck it, I'm gonna attack law and attack whatever I do. And
I'm going to transcend.
I'm going to become successful.
Yeah, right.
And when you don't achieve success and you don't address your past trauma, it almost as if like
you tie your self-worth to what you perceive as failure.
Right.
Because you already feel worthless because you grew up poor. And
right.
Like, you never really. I like to this day. I'm insecure about my looks. I'm insecure about like.
My intelligence,
everything. Like, I'm constantly thinking I'm not worthy enough.
Yeah.
And then when you fail, it's like, it's an even bigger reaction.
Like, because then it's sort of like, of course I did.
Of course I did. Again, this is just what it was meant to be.
Right, victim mode.
Yeah, you start to put yourself in a victim mode. And you take things, I think, out of proportion.
Yeah. So how did you get hip to that process of grieving or acknowledging the trauma?
Kenny suggested therapy for the first time in our lives. At 30, we were like, oh, let's talk to a therapist.
Yeah. The two of you.
Yeah, we went together. Joint therapy.
Yeah, couples therapy.
Couples therapy. It was couples, and we were having issues with communication too, like fighting all the time.
Yeah.
And I think it was just I hate myself, but I get to see him, so I hate him too.
Project it right onto him.
I get to punch him in the face and punch myself.
It's so much easier than projecting it onto an audience or a woman. It's like you got a guy that looks exactly like you. It's like, I hate me, you.
Yeah. That's exactly what it was, though. Or is. I hate me, you.
I hate me, you.
That's so great. That is so great.
You can have it.
Oh, thank you. I hate me, you. Yes, that's exactly what it was.
Yeah. So I hate poetry.
That's it. Yeah. So it's that inner hatred that you have for yourself, and then it manifests itself when you fail.
Yeah,
and I failed that law
because you got to blame somebody.
You got to blame someone.
Can't blame.
Hard to blame yourself.
Hard to
take the responsibility for that. You'd rather think you're getting fucked somehow.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. Conspiratorial. Become paranoid.
Yeah. And so the therapy helped
tremendously. I mean, our therapist just told us like we recognize.
Was it a special twins therapist?
She's a children's therapist.
Oh, interesting.
And she deals with like childhood trauma.
Oh, interesting.
It was just like I never cried about my past.
Oh, good.
I was at that point where I was like, I realized I never cried about growing up the way I grew up. And I finally cried for the first time about it, and it was very relieving.
Yeah,
it's like felt like
letting it go.
Yeah.
Did you both cry?
Oh yeah.
Different times.
Yeah.
Same
we
time.
actually cried at the same time.
For the first time in our lives, we cried together. We had a moment. I was like, holy shit.
It was like, all this shit we just kept in, and it's like you gotta let that stuff out. You gotta let it out somehow.
That must have been an insane morning.
Hey man, you wanna win this? No, man, I'm crying too. Oh no. I hate my stepdad. Me too.
That's so funny. The immediate connection with someone else around it. There was no distance. You didn't have to call the other brother.
We were
hugging.
Very cathartic.
It was nice.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Do you still go or?
Yeah, we still go. We go.
Great,
we're
man.
meditating more. We're reading more philosophy and realizing that everybody has problems.
Yeah.
And everyone deals with their problems in certain ways. But you got to recognize that this is a special time for us. We're doing this thing.
We're engaging in comedy. Like it's like.
And you
amazing.
got this special.
Oh yeah, that's out.
Yeah, that's what we're here.
Oh yeah, I just wanted to talk to you.
No. But like, when did you? This is the first special, right?
Yeah, this is our first.
Have you done an album before?
No.
So this is the first thing. First big thing.
Yeah. First big.
Where is it on?
Netflix.
Oh, and it's on the big thing.
It's on the big thing.
Everyone knows what that is.
Yeah. on Netflix.
And you're great in Glow.
Oh, thank you very much,
fantastic.
buddy.
I think it's
it surprised everybody, me included.
It's a beautiful show.
It is really.
Yeah.
For me, it's like it's all gravy on some degree. Somehow or another, I managed to make a life for myself here in the garage. And when I started it, I'd let go of I'm going to be a big comedian, or I'm going to be an actor, I'm going to have a show. I let go of all that, and somehow or another, out of this garage, it all comes.
It's such a beautiful story. It's a historic story. It's crazy.
And I just wanted to try acting not as me, and I felt confident. I didn't feel like I was an actor necessarily, but I knew that I'd gotten the experience to graduate school doing my own show on IFC that a few people watched. But I knew, like, I was comfortable. I understood the fucking thing.
Dude, it's amazing.
So when I entered this, I'm like, I get how it works. Now I just got to focus on being this guy, and maybe it'll work. Then none of it was hanging on me other than the own challenge to me. Like, I got to become this guy. The worst thing that could happen. The worst thing is that, like, people are like, nah, Maron didn't do it. He didn't pull it off. That was the worst thing. It would hurt, but it'd be like, it ain't hanging on me. You're not, if the show didn't work out, it's not my fault.
I already got paid, baby.
Look at the writers. It ain't me. Paycheck coming in.
If I didn't do a bad job acting, it's someone else's problem.
Yeah. That's right.
So I'm glad.
That was a fucking cultural phenomenon. I mean, you're integral to it.
I'm excited. It was all, like I said, it was I'm open to it. I'm surprised about it. In all honesty, and I hope to God you guys can get to this place sometime. Yeah. I don't give a fuck.
That's where I want to get to. That's exactly where I want.
Yeah. That's the key. I think that's the key. Not giving a fuck.
Yeah, it's very hard to get there, honestly.
Yeah, of course.
And it requires something like, obviously, look, I'm not Louis. I'm not Kevin Hart.
But you're you, though.
Right. That's it. At some point, that's what you realize. Yeah. That's what I'm working. That's what I'm working for. And it's like, all I want to do is make a living. Yeah. I think, I just didn't want to be like, fuck. What happens now?
Yeah. But you got it. Like, your story is very inspirational. Like, we see it and we're like, okay, this is a guy who went up against forces that we have to go up against, and you're persevering. Yeah. That's important to us.
It was a complete desperation and fear.
But it doesn't seem like that. You seem like a courageous hero.
That's where that comes from. That's where that comes from. All those guys start completely desperate and terrified.
Yeah. But you didn't give up. You know what I mean?
Well, but that's the problem. Is like after a certain point, like I said to you earlier, it's like, the teaching thing gets further and further away.
That's right.
It's like there is no giving up. Who's going to fire you? I mean, you know what I mean? Like, and the pride involved in it. Like, well, I could always
jump off a bridge.
Well, that's it. Those are the options. Either I set these mics up in my garage, or I fucking hang myself in it.
I guess I gotta go with option one.
That's great.
That's where it comes from. And but I feel better. Yeah. It's not like I didn't put the time in.
You did the work.
I don't think anyone's going to say like that guy didn't deserve that.
No.
Not at all. Not at all. I mean, it's just like, once you live within yourself and realize like, okay, this is my story, this is my life, and I'm going to do whatever I can do to make it right. Make it my story, and that's what you did.
You have no choice.
You literally have no choice.
Yeah. That's what I believe. And then depending on when it happens, if it happens, then you got to figure out like, well, what is my life now? Yeah. Right. So I fought the fight. Mm-hmm. I feel all right. I'm doing what I want to do, but I don't know how to have a good time.
Yeah.
What is a good time?
Exactly.
Yeah, virtue, man.
Happy.
The virtuous life.
Well, I don't know. The virtue, like I'm gonna need a little work. I got some virtuous elements, but some elements not so virtuous.
You can't be too virtuous.
Yeah.
There's such thing as too much virtue.
You don't want to be corrupt. On all levels. Yeah. But it's an ongoing dialogue.
The Aristotelian golden mean. You want to find somewhere
in the middle.
Well, you try to help. You try not to hurt people, and you try to fight the good fight in the way that you're capable of, and you try to make sure that some part of you is honestly doing it for the right reasons and not for selfish reasons.
Without a doubt.
And I think that you are living a virtuous life.
I'm doing all right.
You're doing a great thing. I think buddy. you have to really like sit back and marvel in it and be like.
I do sometimes.
You should.
But I got to be careful because one of my virtuous liabilities, one of the liabilities to my virtue is that if I start feeling too good about me, and then I'm going to start being like, who the fuck are you guys?
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, but that's fair.
So you guys are doing a twin thing?
Yeah,
great.
I get it.
That's just what we need.
Yeah, more twin shit. Nah, Jesus Christ.
I don't want to be that guy again.
That's fair. But I feel like you can never become that person again.
I don't think so.
You've evolved to a point where you're, at least from my perspective, it seems as if you're more at ease.
Yeah. Well, I think that it re-engaged me with an empathy that I had shut down out of my own sort of spite.
Yeah.
That out of my own entitlement, out of my own self-pity.
Yeah.
If you're consumed with self-pity or angry that your life did not turn out the way you want, it's very difficult to be empathetic.
I totally agree.
Because you're sort of this how are you going to put yourself in the shoes of somebody else when you feel like you've been fucked?
Absolutely.
Like everybody should put themselves in your shoes.
Yeah.
I got problems.
Yeah.
And then that can lead to real problems.
You're so me oriented.
Right.
It's impossible to think about other people.
Yeah, and I think this thing is helped on a lot of levels: spiritual, philosophical, moral, emotional. But I'm glad you guys got this special. So are you happy with it?
No, I don't think anyone is happy with I'm happy that I was able to do it.
Yeah.
I'm privileged to have been able to do a special, but I'm always like, it has to be better. I have to do better than this. Like,
I'm happy.
I'm happy,
yeah.
but I'm hard on myself. I always want to do better.
I think it's when you look at when I think about my comedy career, I think about it holistically.
Sure. Yeah.
Obviously, this is the first special, and presumably, if you do another one, it should get better.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not about that. It's about being able to work with your brother and
that's true.
Put comedy out there.
Yeah.
And, some people watch it and laugh, and it makes their day.
It is a beautiful,
It's just a beautiful experience.
And that's it. Yeah. So you got to fight that commodity thing,
that's right.
Because the weird thing is that we don't live in a time where like everything is in the balance. It's not make or break.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of specials to the point where it's like, how special are they really?
Yeah.
And it's just that like if you can appreciate that you did that thing and it's good and you're happy, like not necessarily happy with it, but you did the best you could.
Sure.
And where'd you tape it?
We taped it in Brooklyn.
Oh, great.
It's a special because it's special to me.
Yeah, it's special to me.
I don't need it to be special to everyone.
Well, I think people are going to like it, and it's what's it called? On drugs.
On drugs. Yeah. But it's not just about drugs.
It's catchy.
We like to. It's a philosophers have
sure,
the on.
Sure. I get it. It's that kind of on.
It's that kind of on.
Yeah, that might be one of those decisions that, in retrospect, you're like, I don't think that people got that.
I'm sure most.
Well, that's all we have to say. It's about it's like On Liberty by John Stuart Mill. On drugs.
Yeah. I've made those kind of decisions. Yeah, like this is clever.
Yeah.
It's lost on everyone.
Yeah. No one gets it. No one gets it.
But comedy's so personal. Like it's like if you sometimes we think about everything else but that personal relationship with the comedy.
Yeah.
And I like to just keep it there.
Yeah.
Well, it feels like your collective heart's in the right place.
I think so.
And I'm glad you guys leveled off.
Yeah.
And this was great. I had a great time talking to you.
Thank you.
Okay, that was fun, philosophical, a lot of stuff. I enjoyed that. I get a kick out of those guys. I get a kick out of those Lucas brothers. What can I tell you? I do. Go to WTF Pod for all your WTF Pod needs. Get on the mailing list. Pre-order the book is there. And while I'm going to play guitar with that Keeley engineering pedal I got. That came with the extra wire thing that I don't think I'm going to use unless someone comes over here and tells me what the fuck it's for. All right, so I'm just going to... I don't know what this thing does. It sounds nice. It's a double tracker, a 30 MS double tracker from Keeley. I don't know. And I'm not using the extra wire. I know that. But it sounds pretty. Boomer lives!